Well, maybe it will, Alex. And this would be the scenario, right, that I wrote about in Monday's letter. And that, look, we got the retest. The reversal happened yesterday. Right? It was like it followed the script completely. This is not part of the script. This was, scenario 3 that I believe to be less likely. So, but with this close here today, right, I mean, if it opens lower, maybe it's just going to free fall down to 2,400. So from the high day up there down into that area is a 10% correction. Pretty good size. And we've got a measured move from where it started here and extending it here. I just copied and pasted and make a new line down to here, would put it a little bit below. And it's not unusual for prices to overshoot a bit. So let's see. I mean, it's coming down here tomorrow. Maybe then is when we would see the volatility index spiking up into this area. And so we got this turn up, but why isn't it even higher? And so we would assume some complacency going on here. Now, we don't have another high over to the left to really look at and say, would it go up to there? That would make sense. I mean, if the VIX was going up to that high, I think the Dow would be way below. So I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking that maybe, let's just say $30 as it pushes up above that high or somewhere in here. But what you want to do is at least set an alert up here. So, as things are going down, assuming they are, you want to be having some alert mechanisms that are going to say, hey, as ugly as these things are here, look at this and are there some breakdown failures? Are the ticks at an extreme, which they should be? Are they diverging? Meaning, are you getting higher low ticks at that point in time? So those are what we'll be looking at tomorrow to see if that happens. But so on my other system, on my other computer, I'm working off this other one here now. I'm going to set an alert. I think I probably already have one up at this high here, but I'll set a second one a bit higher and to see what happens there. And let's go and look at the NASDAQ. Well, let's look at the Qs here. And I've already got some old measurements on here as to what was happening. So we have some nice void back up. That's the great part, Dave, is that when things happen fast like this, we get the void in the other direction, which is beautiful. So, but falling in this way kind of sets things, maybe the big low to turn up, maybe it has to really have a retest that takes another week or two, which maybe puts us into the midterm election point, and maybe that's the catalyst for a rally, and even like no matter which way it goes, maybe it initially sells off and, like it did on the Trump thing, was down overnight about 800 or so points, and then we're off to the races from there. So that's what we have to be prepared for, is, getting our downside targets, our alerts set, and our game plan set to how to take advantage of this. And we know the price patterns. So we'll see how this all shapes up. Now, as I'm looking at this, and all right, so let's just consider here this stabilization point. Let's just do a projection as to a 10% from the high point up here and where that would put things. Well, not even that far down. So we're already at 10%. but there's no support. There's nothing there. So I'm going to go with, just because I see those tails down there, well, let's just go crazy. Let's put it around 20%. So there we've got a 10% downside target. And let's just go like this. There's nothing there. So I think it's unlikely that it would go down there, but let's just do that. There's nothing there. And so this is where we got a whole bunch of bottoming tails there at around 156. And you know, this is kind of, when things start coming down like this, I know it's a weekly chart, but these kind of overlapping bars typically don't hold. They typically go down into the area of the tails, where there's a more of a cluster down there. That's when they're green, it's stronger. Hey, Pam. It's okay. It's recorded, but hey, tomorrow we'll probably have some doldrum time. Maybe I can show you how to use the thing, and you know, you could give a little overview of what you're looking at, and we could maybe have a little talk of past times in the room. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. No, tomorrow's Thursday. It's good for me if it's good for you. This is very simple to use, even simpler than the old system, but I will show you. I don't know, maybe around 12:30-ish. Regular lunchtime and things slow down. Yeah. Okay. So 20% correction from the high down here, Eastern time. Yeah. Nothing to the left, but hey, you never know. Other tails down here at 156. And what do I have here? All right, so if this is a high to low, it's not quite the end of it, but it's a tail. Let's just go with that and project that downward. And that kind of throws us in the same area, maybe give or take a little bit less. So it would not be a surprise to see an overshoot here. So this would be one of our reference points, and there's nothing to the left over there. So we're going to have to take that into consideration, but let's look at the daily chart. That's a giant bar. Wow. Wow. I mean, that's what I'm saying. These overlapping bars here, prices typically don't stop at that kind of overlapping mess. So I have, Alex. I've actually seen minus 2,000. That was during the bear market. Not in 2000, but on the way down. And actually, I've actually got it recorded and captured that I think when the markets opened the day after 9/11, when they were closed for a week, there was some wild numbers. I have it put away somewhere. I can pull it out. Yeah. That was a crazy time too. And I was long the Qs over that weekend. And when the markets opened and they opened higher and started to rally, I was like, yeah, that's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And I remember it. I'm sitting in the White Plains office, and all of a sudden, it just started moving weird. The prices started moving weird, and they started to go down. And I was like, this is not right. I got to get out. And nothing, everything stopped working. And then, we had satellite TV there. Most people's TVs didn't work, but because we had a satellite, it worked, and we saw what was happening, and it was pretty wild. Yeah, it could. So I'm just looking here for downside targets to what to look for. And intraday, I think, look, if this looks like this is going to play out, I mean, we're going to have to find an intraday short setup and just shorting, Qs and spiders. I don't know about individual stocks, but I mean, the liquidity is here, makes it pretty easy. Let's take it. Wow. So there was 10% down where this turned. That's terrible. It's hard to imagine a measured move of this proportion. But that's where it puts it. That's about where it would put it down there. If you look at this move, but from there, that's the whole complete move. But if we look at it like as this being the start, I guess it changes it a bit, but kind of just puts it in the middle of nowhere as to it kind of ends up in the middle of nowhere. And spiders. And you always look to see if these kind of measurements line up with anything, and this does. So, 260, 257.50, somewhere down there. I mean, this is exactly what we did yesterday, right? When prices were down here, was that was in alignment with this area, and then the 5-minute double bottom, and prices rallied back up into the gap fill. So, this going down here doesn't seem hard to imagine whatsoever after a bar like this to see it going down into this level. But it could come all the way, down there. So I have these areas marked off tomorrow and to see. And so the S&Ps are up. They're kind of like bouncing there a little bit. There's nothing of significance, that's for sure. So we got our volatility index alert at our alerts and measurements for spiders, Qs, Russell, diamonds. We'll see what the futures are doing tomorrow. And, our internals are really going to be cooked. Why these guys did not be stepping up today. But so maybe the Qs are going to go all the way down here to 156-ish. We'll talk then. I'm telling you, this is going to be a giant buying opportunity. So it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And it'll probably flip around like this. So look, if we get a tail and a few days up like that, and you take the money, hold on to something. I've been through this enough times to feel sorry that I didn't hold on to things when things turned around, So if you hold on to some and stick in there, you'll watch it intently enough to take advantage to an ad like a setup like this. And even if you're not in it, these kind of setups, they typically take time to flip around. And, I don't know how long this will take to, develop, but when it comes down, it could take months to develop and settle down. But we do have the seasonal Christmas rally, end of year rally, and so on. So we should get a pretty nice move. And if it's down here, even better. If it's down here, and then it'll set up. And then even from here to here will be a pretty nice move. So that's our plan. We're going into tomorrow and how that's going to shape up. And now we'll just see how it follows the plan. Look like VIX didn't move up, but this is the NASDAQ volatility index. And that did push up near this prior high, but maybe it's going to come up into this area. So that could be a better heads up, meaning where this, we were picking an arbitrary point because it doesn't seem conceivable that it would go up to 50. You never know. But anyway, this 38 level in the VXN, that makes sense to set an alert, because to go from here to here, why not? And why not just set two alerts? So what we do is, that seems like a bunch for tomorrow. Like no problem hitting that. And then we'll see about hitting up there. So, all right. So did internals? No, Tim, the internals didn't give a false reading. I'm being asked on YouTube. They didn't give a false reading because when they got to an extreme, we got a pretty big bounce from here, from that low up to here, and it hit that minor resistance, and then it fell from there. So it was within the game plan to get the retest, and we got the retest yesterday, and we took advantage of it when it hit the lows down there. But now today, just blew everything out of the water. So now we've got these lower downside targets. Awesome, Mike. I mean, that's why we're here, to help, and of course for you to consider, being in the green room with us, or getting some education. Pam, whatever you do is going to be awesome. So it's been a long time. Everything you did in the room was terrific. So you guys are going to be in for a treat, guys. Pam used to give an overview of sectors and different stocks on Fridays in the other chat room. So it was great. So tomorrow, 12 Eastern, and I'll show you how to use the room. Now I'll send you a little video tonight, as to me just going over the controls. It's pretty simple. Yeah. So, all right, everybody. Yeah, you have a great evening. We'll get together tomorrow, and we'll talk in the AM. All right, and I'll be here. Dan and I will be here on YouTube in the AM too, doing an overview. So that'll be recorded. You'll get to see where the markets are at and where we think they're going. So, all right, have a great one. We'll talk in the AM. Bye-bye.